you so much for joining me. Polina here, talking to you about the full moon in a couple of days on the 12th, and it is now the 10th, of course, and talking about this Leo full moon happening. And this is usually the more primordial, the more sort of emotional, intentional moon. Sometimes people really want to see the full quality of themselves or of the people around them. Sometimes things are in full bloom or full swing. We see the more primordial and ancient parts of us sometimes during a moon like this. But usually it's not the case with this particular time. And why this is because we have Sun, Ceres, Mercury conjunction at a very, very juicy quarter square to Uranus there with Taurus being its leader. And then we also have this moon, and I suppose between the three sides there is a square, but it's not just about this. There's a very, very deep and sensitive issue that can be coming to the surface with this Uranus, and there's a big question mark about lots of things. We have Saturn, of course, at a trine to Mars in Cancer, where he doesn't like to be. And we definitely do have some wanting and feeling, and then sometimes people really like to clear the air, they like to hug it out, they like to talk it out. Certain people are very nervous and sensitive about what other people are thinking about them, because we do have Eros and Pallas quite close to Pluto as well. So people are really, really depressed sometimes during a time like this. They want to know more than they can. They want to cuddle, they want to get into the right situations, right jobs, right patterns. They get kind of like afraid if they're not doing it right, and if they have recently done it wrong. So also we do have North Node, Neptune and Venus situation there on the ascendant in the no man's land between Pisces and Aries. So this is going to really bring a lot to the surface already. People are looking for something very intense and intimate. There's some people that really would like to do something again. Sometimes people are asking, can I please have another chance during a time like this? And certain other individuals don't really care about this. They just want to get strict and more precise. I'm one of those individuals. I'm not sure if you are. So there is this kind of question between the very sulky, soggy, emotional and kind of slightly depressing energy that wants to do something but better. And also there is this kind of contrast as to people that really kind of know who they are and what they're doing. They don't need to apologize anymore, and they don't need to necessarily respect things beyond their cause and effect, meaning they don't have to wait for miracles to happen. So I also have to remind you that we are in the second to last signs, so of course Aquarius is at the end now, it's in the last degrees, and the sun is going to really help us see how things are. It is not about changing anything. I've been doing a lot of lectures on Patreon about knowing how to basically set things straight, set them up, count the chickens and let go. And it's really, really nice to be precise and just understand what life has dealt you. So if you would, this would probably actually take just a minute. It would help your nervous system adjust. It would help your life adjust if you just look at things for what they are, if you look at your life for what it is, if you look at the people in your life as that which they present today, and you stop waiting for miracles, you stop asking, you stop arguing, you stop trying to get something or somebody to notice you or love you, and you stop reinventing the bicycle. So that's the thing that I've talked a lot about on Patreon already. There is a really desperate need to no longer hold your breath and to no longer feel affected by how somebody else has done it, and if people are going the right or the wrong way. The idea is to not really feel depressed about it, but life is what it is. Things are what they are, and just look at how far they've come. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's going to honestly change your life. It is going to upgrade your psyche. It is going to save you several years of mischief if you just relax and relate and try to, in a very healthy way, in a very powerful way, in a very simple way, get to know yourself and the things that are at play. This is about not interrupting the natural currents as if we can, and just relaxing about things and how far they've come and also how far they didn't. And if you haven't done the job yet on something or somebody in your life, if you haven't really fully finished a project or you didn't get any closure from a friendship or relationship, you don't actually have to do anything that big a deal. And you need to understand that things sometimes are not up to you. So that means that relaxing, making space, and just feeling super happy and healthy about your life would probably be the best choice. So whether things did or did not roll out a certain way, whether you did or did not make an impression on someone, whether you do or do not have a certain payout from something, or you didn't receive a word or you did, it actually never mattered as long as you have a center point. And the center point is feeling healthy, beautiful, feeling undoubtful, feeling worthy, feeling simple, and feeling like enough is said, enough is done. You know, sometimes we have to feel what it's like to have a completion. Aquarius is definitely a sign of a certain type of completion, as a fixed sign. And Leo should really help us feel a certain triumphant and very know-it-all feeling, very wise feeling. So don't worry if you're a little bit too big for your boots. It is all good. It's fine. Just feel good about what you've got going on. Feel wise about who you are. And it's also a very, very great time to close up. So for example, you're closing up your website, closing up your center, you're no longer showing up at the job. It is fine if you don't want any more of that which you've had or what you're having day to day. So it's fine to say no. It's also fine to change your step, and it's fine to organize or reorganize subtly so you don't have to do that much anymore. Lucky thing is we've got Fortune next to the South Node there also as the moon is turning full. So we have a very, very nice repetitive cycle, and organization should be easy and quick. Things should be a no-brainer in this place between Virgo and Libra. The South Node is feeling pretty sweet. It is very savvy, so things should just be once and for all done. Like, it should just be done. Like, there's no discussion. You don't have to enter any more people into the game. You don't have to interrupt anybody else's flow. You don't have to interrupt your flow. You don't have to watch for what is and what isn't worthy, because everything has already been kind of laid out. If you are very careful with your energy, time, and attention, if your mind is neurologically creative and connected to its core, you would actually not have to do any of that which you're doing. The better choice here is to try to relax and assume the position of the elder in your own life. You know, so feel like the elder of your own life. Feel like you are going through the last phases or stages of something, and just enjoy, because we are only at the end of the year. We're not at the start. And that's something that really shows in terms of societal programming, like, oh no, this is the beginning, you know, this is the time, this is when you really like get to do that stuff, and this is not the time when you get to do this stuff. I mean, you can, but it's going to be always forced at a stretch. It's going to be too emotional, it's going to be too competitive, it's going to be too intentional. So basically, you know what I'm saying here probably, so you just basically need to soften your gaze. So that means like you are sitting down and you're looking over your time. You're looking at your photos, your videos, your past several months of life, or you are even looking at your last year and a half, or 2 years, or 3, or 6, just however long, and you're just basically enjoying a certain type of poised and precious time that we've got now, to just identify things as they are and neutralize that fear. Also neutralize, try to stay safe in terms of feeling like a strange person, like feeling a weirdo. For example, feeling like you haven't done the thing, or you somehow are doing things that other people don't want you to do, or you are too quick, or you are too slow, or there is something else happening. So also another thing that I've talked a lot about is neurological difficulties for people during this time on my Patreon, and I'm just posting an audio now about neurological advancements that you can claim in Aquarius, because it is a sign of neurology and of sequencing and segments and kind of systems, I suppose. There's a lot of S's. And it's really, really nice to really try to understand yourself, try to represent yourself clearly. It's really nice to be sturdy, even if you don't have that what you want, even if you think that the year is beginning and I'm not doing that thing, because it's not beginning. This is not the beginning. And it's nice to just feel advanced as you are. So it's really cool to feel a certain level of healthy stoicism. It's nice to feel a healthy feeling of abundance and representation. It's nice to feel no regret or remorse. So trying to have a look at one's life as a finished product, or looking over the last few, even decades for some people, or just last few months really in perspective, you know, to do with what you are doing, and just to try look at it as a finished game. You know, if you like, you can also tell somebody what you're feeling. If you are feeling incredible anger or some kind of demise or any kind of difficulty, you should probably talk it out and tell some other people as to what you're doing, what you're thinking about doing, what you're trying to do. So it's also nice to feel lucky, and naturally it's nice to feel the joy of the day to day. And sometimes this Jupiter in Gemini is not about feeling lucky for the big things, it's about feeling lucky and brisk for tiny things, it's like walking outside, feeling like the sun is smiling to you, feeling like people that you see in the crowd resonate with you. So it's just a very nice, cutesy time. And it should never have been anything raw and emotional and deep and frustrating. So that's the thing, is like to keep out of deep emotional states is important, especially if you are going into some kind of depth or depression, or questioning your worth or your significance for any reason. And it's really, really nice to just basically try to stick to one thing, be dense about your life. So that means like, yeah, I know who I am. Yeah, I know who I am. Like that kind of feeling. It's really, really good also to tell other people off for sometimes not giving you the respect that you need. You can say, it's like, actually, I'm the elder here. How about you notice that? So it's a nice question. Do you feel good about what you are getting? Do you feel good about how you are paid? Or how much you're getting paid? Do you feel good about the respect you're getting in society or at your job or any maze or system that you're in? Do you feel good at your job? Do you feel good at your, place in the world? Do you feel lucky that you have found this or that to be important, or this or that to be courageous? Because, the moon is about courage at this time. It's about thoughts. It's about thought-provoking and emotional material. Sometimes it's also about having a certain pride or power. For some people, there is a huge amount of ego inside of all of this, and it is about their worth and who they are and who they represent day to day. And in some ways, it could also be very, very emotional and enticing to be somebody that one is not, and to say that you have more than you've got, and to show people yourself, and to show off, and to try to be prettier, or try to be stronger, or try to be more significant or wealthier than you truly are. So that's the thing, basically, is not to think too much about it. There is always going to be a little bit of shallowness to a Leo moon. It doesn't have to be super mature. It never had to be super intense or, emotional or deep. It could just be sometimes at the first glance. So like love at first sight sometimes happens during times like this. Emotional connections, it's like, wow, I love your dress. Where'd you get it from? Like things like that. It's like, wow, that guy was really cool. Like, he's a really cool guy, like that kind of thing, and people like just look at each other and they sparkle their energy, or maybe they meet each other through some kind of like a little innuendo, or there's something about somebody's eyes, or somebody, is talking very amazingly, or they're wearing a beautiful set of shoes or something like that. That's what sort of takes people during this time. Jupiter is at a sextile to the beautiful moon, and of course there's going to be a lot of power, a lot of trust, a lot of this, a lot of that. It's going to be like fame and glory and things that actually did work out for somebody. And sometimes it's easier to look at someone else and think, oh wow, that really worked out for you, didn't it? So that's the thing. It's like sometimes people are lazy with themselves and who they are, and they like to watch other people, or not necessarily watch them, but notice what is going on in their life and their family tree community. So you see, it's like a little bit doubtful. It's a little bit doubtful, a little bit weird. And yes, we do have Lilith also at a sextile to the moon. So she's going to be very deep in Libra there. And it's going to be very, very hard for her to say no. So sometimes, it's easy if you have a certain quality to you to somehow go into situations that are not necessary, to feel abandonment. Like, for example, if you are somebody who was a juvenile delinquent and now you are constantly feeling these feelings, and you're kind of like messing with people, and these feelings are coming up, to the top. So some things are coming up to the top, certain learned and hereditary habitual behaviors coming up to the top, like see me, or like somebody hug me, or don't you want to see me? Don't you want to share my story? I need a bedmate, or I need a friend, like there's going to be a lot of this happening around here. Also with Lilith being at a perfect trine to the sun, so there's going to be a lot of messes for certain people. And sometimes people are incredibly needy and promiscuous and depressed and sad, and there's a lot of shadow play, shadow work with, of course, the snake ruling this year in general. So depression, sexuality, needs, but how can they not tell who I am? Why does that person not see me? Why am I no longer needed in the situation? So all of this stuff, depression, also old wounds and old fairy tales about who I am in a story, the narrative, like I am the abandoned, or I'm the hero, or I am the invited or the uninvited, so all of these different thoughts and feelings, very much so. So, how do you get it back? As I said before, look at your chickens, count the chickens, look at your freedoms, look at your light, look at that which is correct, and just enjoy. And to do it quickly and easily, I mean, I think is just about looking at the world as a gallery or as a history. We are in the last degrees of Aquarius. We got Ceres there, we got Mercury there. It is about gifts. Sometimes it's just about getting it right, knowing that you got it right. And it's a silent, healthy ego that doesn't have to be demonstrative, doesn't have to be talked about, doesn't have to say anything about itself or about another person. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm a lucky guy. Like I got a nice lady to go back home to, or yeah, I got a nice place to stay. You know, so there's a nice, healthy, warm, adjusted feeling that feels very good to other people too. So I talk about this in my recent work on Patreon. It's about how we don't have to dominate each other or blow smoke in each other's eyes to succeed and to provide some kind of connection or social or psychological closure to each other. It's just a very, very easy way of knowing it and permeating from the inside. And Leo, of course, is the core, it's the heart. So you just know inside yourself, you know, and it permeates the space. Like you just know how well you've done, and that's it. You know how good you are at that which you do, and that's it. It's like you feel a certain emotional, powerful justice, or you feel a certain type of wisdom or a certain type of closure. Feeling of closure, feeling of security, feeling of sure separation sometimes, but also a needed pat on the back. Sometimes not everybody can see your business, not everybody can see your errands, but you maybe and your loved ones can pat each other on the back. It's a really nice time for family and for executive decisions made only within the 2 or 3 people. So small groups and very small numbers sometimes, you know, so you don't have to necessarily go outside in massive high heels, you know, wiggling your bum around, you know, like telling people I am doing good, you know, because you don't need to do this anymore. You know, you don't need to make it all about like safety and like participation as well. You know, sometimes people during this time want to be seen somewhere interesting. They want to be with somebody beautiful. They want to be around gorgeous people. They want to be somebody. And sometimes it's not about this. So if you have an extra urge, like if you have a sweet tooth during this time, if you have a need, if you're mean to yourself or other people, if you really want something that you can't have, or if you're really interested in that person who seems to be cooler than you, smarter than you, or sexier than you for some reason, some imaginary reason, that is not something that we need to necessarily go into, but you know, certain people will, you know, want to put an extra flair and pizzazz in their life. They will want to wear those high heel boots. They will want to look at a person who is higher than them. We got also Chiron there, of course, in Aries at a sextile to the sun. And you know, sometimes it is really nice to just walk about and sway your hips and you know, feel like you have an audience, or that you are, you know, sort of twisting and turning around the right people and you have someone influential next to you. So that means that there's poverty of soul and there's not enough. If you're somebody who really desperately wants to market themselves now and you have your eyes on the prize, please be aware of this. If you feel like I'm going to rip the market to shreds, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to make this thing. So if you're incredibly interested in entrepreneurship or twisting somebody's mind, if you're super interested in picking somebody's brains, if you're very, very curious about dating right now, take 7 steps back, like 12 steps back, because it seems to me that you don't know how well you are. You know, you don't know how well you are. All adjustments are lucky still. We have Uranus balancing the moon and the sun there at a square. So Uranus would suggest that it is nice to have a little bit of innovation, a little bit of magic, a little bit of spice. But this is within a certain meter. You know, this is within reason. You know, so you're dating somebody already. It's nice to take them somewhere beautiful where they have never been before. It's nice to go see a movie that you've never seen before. You know, this is what I'm saying. It's like Uranus is a little bit different, but it's not as different as you may think. You know, so it is about taking that which already is and making it a little bit cooler, just a little bit. So you don't have to like, you know, sometimes do things that are very evolved. You don't have to do things that are incredibly or exceptionally large. Like you don't have to make or break during this time. The make or break is the less lucky thing that you can do, even though Venus is in Aries, yes, and we have this Neptune next to North Node, and people are like, why me? You know, why me? I need to do something big. Bigness, it's already did. It already did itself. It should be looked at as well. And this is where we really have that fault as a humanity of not feeling grateful for who we've got around and what we've got going on already. So you've already got something going on. And the best thing I know it's a trigger, the best thing I can suggest here is to be good to that which you've got, to wake up out of negligence, to wake up out of this comedy that we're playing out, any kind of spicy narratives, any kind of feelings, big ideas, big depressed or big mega like sentiments, and try to just group things as they are. So this is kind of like Ceres. It's like putting things in a bunch and just tying it up together. It's like you have all these flowers, put them in a bunch, tie them up with a ribbon, and be happy with that. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like you're looking at your home, rearrange your objects if you want. You can clean up, you can vacuum or something like that, and then just looking at your house and you are happy with the day. It's really quite cool for these solid, consolidating sort of trophy moments. And the thing is, like, this sounds a little bit ridiculous. Like, to me also sometimes it's like, what? Be happy with that which I have? Is this it? Is this gonna be all I'm gonna have? So it's not necessarily gonna be at all, ever all. It's never all. But sometimes we have to have these solid moments when you sit with your brothers and sisters, or you sit with your friends, you sit with your husband or wife or your kids or anybody that you actually truly value and have in your core and in your soul. And you feel them, and you're feeling through the day, and you're feeling and consolidating. Maybe it is good to ask for forgiveness for some people already. For some people, it is nice to just feel how far things have come. And it's also, as I said before, it's kind of a shallow moon. So it's just nice to feel good about the growth, feel good about the abundance, feel respectful to yourself and other people, to feel respected for that which you are, and what you had in mind all along, and also what you have prepared for yourself and other people. The story. So it's just about the goodness, raising a cup, raising a toast, raising your trophy, raising your child up to the sky, Simba style, Lion King style. And, just like having these moments, like having these glory moments. It's like, I am awesome, like I'm a great dad, or like I had a wonderful day, or like I just love how life has turned out. So this is just about feeling a certain type of sturdy, good, safe feeling. And why I'm saying that is because this is going to really come in handy in the next weeks to come, as we are going into Pisces, and Pisces has Psyche and Saturn conjunction there, and it's going to be hard. I feel it's going to be hard for most people to admit the reality and to see what's really sane and what's really actually happening. But because of the sky right now, I'm feeling like this is one of the best skies to just basically be a part of that which is already situationing, to be a part of that which is already kind of there, and that which is healthy, and to feel grace and to feel the presence of God, like to feel the presence of that which is good in the world. And just to say thank you and stay at that median. There are a lot of spicy people. There are a lot of spicy things. There are things that can ruin reputation. There are things that can ruin a life. There's spicy messaging going on. There's like spicy stuff. There's devotion also to nothing. And as you can see, there's trouble. And you may feel like you are in a boat, and in front of you is the ocean, and in the ocean there are just so many lives, and there's so many questions. And it's also very easy to see psychic possession, psychological issues. It's easy to see where a person has a disease or they're mentally ill. It's not good to criticize, but you can see where somebody's in a cycle that will not change. It could be gambling, it could be depression, it could be monotony, it could be self-obsession, it could be anything. It's very, very kind to see it during this time. If you have people close to you with these things, maybe you are starting to understand them. So you're understanding, addiction, or I don't know, obsession, or any kind of abusive behavior within the family tree better, with people that you really know. And it's nice to stay wise, but not invite them anywhere nearer than they are. Oh, that sounds horrible. I'll tell you why. So you need to get secure, and you need to meet them on your terms. So for example, if every time you call that person from your family, you get really afraid, if you get really teary, if you can't hide your feelings, if you start to spin out, that's not a good thing. Just wait. Wait till you're secure in yourself, and maybe you can invite them when your boat, your life raft, or whatever it is that you are making in this situation, is standard and sturdy and diplomatic enough to let these people in. So maybe sometimes it's better not to call them, but to meet them for a cup of tea in a public place. So it's good to have security, good to have connection. So even if you don't want it, sometimes people will pull at each other's timelines. They will pull at each other's finances. They will ask for things. They will be afraid if you don't do something for them that you don't love them and such. And I talked a lot about ungrateful children last few weeks, and about how there seems to be kind of an issue between elder and child, and how child just wants to get what it wants to get, and it doesn't actually understand the structure or the sensitivity of what the elders are going through and what elder vision is about. And then eventually, what basically, I don't want to necessarily repeat or talk about again necessarily, but we have to have protocols, we have to have safety. There's need to be no longer confused. There's need for a humble kind of letting go sometimes, and sometimes it is just about having things like it is so, like, things are this and it is so, like this is my home and it is so, or like this is my garden and it is so. So there's like a very, very fortunate feeling that can actually come through during these times when you understand and you get it. Okay, I'm fine as I am, or things are just going to stay at this level, or the more I think about this, the luckier I actually feel. So this is really beautiful for, I suppose, even a narrow mind. It's like, I'm quite happy with just being by myself. I'm quite happy with just having my pigs and my horses in my backyard. I'm quite happy actually going through my motions, or having my job, or living my life. That's where you have the be-all, end-all. The be-all, end-all stability and sensitivity. And I know it doesn't sound very evolved, and it doesn't sound very exciting or eclectic or sexy. It doesn't sound very fun. But that's actually the be-all, end-all chalice of justice. The chalice of justice during this particular month. Because you don't actually really want to be anybody else. You don't want to be anything else. So it's important not to push yourself, not to purge yourself out of you, not to make others criticize you, not to be criticized within yourself. So it's just about whatever is out of reach, a little bit too complicated, too many red flags, too many missions, too many weird words, too many wisdoms, too cryptic, too odd, too unsafe, or just too experimental. It's absolutely okay that it is going on. It is just a healthier time to just kind of be like, okay, cool, I'm going to wait it out on my deck. So you're sitting there on your deck or your porch, and you are looking at you're watching the people, you're watching what is outside, and you don't let it in. So it's like, it's important to humble yourself as well. So it's not that you are the king or the queen, of the territory, and every territory is your pasture. It's not like this, but it's really nice to hold your space and hold yourself back a little bit. So for example, you have unruly children, so you don't go into screaming fights. You meet them at your level. So it's like, this is my chamber, this is my castle, this is my schedule, this is my timeline. So there is this kind of slightly timid, but very secure way of looking at things. And yeah, I understand this may sound very uncomfortable for some people, but it is about having a certain type of sanity and understanding that if you do things too much, if you pull too many strings and push too many buttons and say too many words, you may upset the natural balance between yourself and other people, or between you, or you and creator. So the best choice I have is minimalism. Having safety, having sanity, having your favorites. I've done a lot of lecturing about this on Patreon. So it's like your have tos, or your have to do's, or having things that are stabilized in your house, having your favorite things, having the way that you like things, having the way that things have been and are and would always be for like a long time. So having a certain type of tribe and tradition, having a certain type of respect for others as well, while having a whole bunch of respect for yourself, or yourselves as a team, as a family, and try to tire things out. It's not about escalations. It's not about magic. It's not about quick thinking. It's not about brainiac stuff. It's actually about a certain gentleness that we require as we go into the last passage of Aquarius and we come out in Pisces, which, yes, calls for miracles. It does call for changes and understanding previous reasons or past mistakes, but it doesn't make us feel better if we are rushing, pushing, and trying to grasp at the divine, because that's not how life is. It's not going to help you and change you. So basically, what I'm trying to relay here is that we need to no longer gallop forward. We don't need to ask or pray for miracles or go into tears or excessive expression or exasperation or too much work or karma or anything to get things done. The idea is that you don't have to really do that much to make things be that which they are to be. And sometimes it is just the divine timing of making sense of that which is. So you like that which is and you feel right about it, and eventually it will sometimes build itself up and it will change itself for you, or it will bring a miracle by some surprise. But we have now, I suppose, parted that main bulk of Aquarius as well, and it's not actually any longer about making things mean something or making things end or go forward or do anything hysterical. It's actually just about preparation for the downward spiral, I would say, that Pisces is. So anything spicy, anything emotional, anything that is beating a drum, like anybody who is exasperated, anybody with a spicy story to tell, anything that is happening around you that seems like it's filled with miracle and it would change your life forever, anything that is trying to fetch your attention or trying to kill your time, it's really nice to basically relax, and if you have a nice stoic core, just to relate to that nice ancestral path. For some people it is nice to repeat the previous cycles that already have existed for eons. It is nice to feel happy and joyful with what you've got. It is kind of like the Nine of Cups and the tarot is just like feeling incredibly safe and feeling incredibly good and not so shy anymore, and just feeling real and rich within yourself. So coming through with this wealth, coming through with this beauty and purity, and then also allowing whatever's happening around you to be its own game, to be its own kind of experience, not to fulfill anybody else's karmic issues, not to get involved in gossip, definitely not, and not to participate in any kind of situation where you, the minute you land yourself in a situation, you go, hey, wait a minute, this is not at all what I need to be doing. This is not what I want my life to be. So just very, very important to be respectful, but to gracefully eject yourself out of anybody else's business, out of things that feel a little bit strained, out of things that feel improbable, also things that are elusive, also things that are plastic, things that are foolish, and also sometimes people that don't actually mean anything, but somehow they have tied themselves into the story or your journey with you, and you just have to be selfish. And sometimes it is about keeping yourself, your home, and your sanity and your family together, and trying to stay out of different types of resolutions that people are looking for, not getting tied up in a project. It's a terrible time to start anything new. It's the end of the year. It's the end of the year. It's a terrible time to stay stagnant as well. But like the thing basically is just to keep on building that which you have now going on. Try to have more passivity in your life, like more time when you're older, more time planned, an early retirement, a passive income, stability, and having things just basically make themselves appear and disappear when it's time. So understanding that life will play her cards, sometimes life will just arrange things and not be messy, and also not to buy it. It's a terrible time to buy any illusion or any karma or any willful, emotional or magical narrative, and it's just very good for us to stay. Sometimes it is about staying deaf. Sometimes it is about staying completely like, what are you saying? I don't understand what you're saying. It is better for us than if we were buying into things and we try to study people intensely, or we try to be parts of their life, or if we jumped in head first. Horrible time for large income investment. Is a terrible time to do anything and everything for somebody you just met. So just about maturity and also sensing regret that other people have. which is a very obvious thing in their behavior, regret in how they talk to each other, regret in how they deal their cards, and how they play with life. A regretful person may be a mile away, because I like the transparency of this particular window. It could be very, very easy to see what's going on for them, and just stay out of it. Try to stick to the few people that you actually feel you belong to, and make sure that you are not willing to do anything that is just outside of the limits of what reality naturally is, unless you are pretty well backed up and you know exactly that it is tried and true and what it's coming to. So thank you very much. Enjoy, and I hope that you have a nice and fulfilling moon. Thank you. Bye.